Hello everybody, how are you going? Welcome back to some more CCAs, some more concerned children's advertisements straight out of Canada, which always tackle the topics that no one else is really game to, especially just in a digestible form for kids. They do a remarkable job.
Guess what?
What?
Can you keep a secret?
Maybe. What is it?
Maybe.
Come here. Look.
Wow.
What is it? It's called the
See?
trap.
Isn't it neat?
What is
Whoa.
I don't know, but I found it first, so it's mine.
it? What's that up there? Is that cheese?
Could be. It sure looks like something to eat, doesn't it? I wonder how this works.
Hey, don't touch it if you don't know what it is.
Why? What's wrong?
Well, I'm not sure. I just think that if we don't really know what it is, we shouldn't touch it. It might hurt us.
Well, then what should we do?
I know that some things are okay and some things are not. And I think if we don't know, we should ask.
Ask who?
Somebody who knows about stuff like this.
Oh, you mean like Mom or Uncle Fred?
Yeah, or somebody else we trust. We don't have to be afraid, but we do have to be careful. Just because somebody leaves something lying around doesn't mean it's okay for us to play with.
Well, I found it, so I get to tell first.
Hey, wait for me. Race you home.
Just like that. Like I said, just so beautifully packaged from the era of the animation, or I guess the stop motion this would most likely be. Whatever it is, they do just do a fantastic job, and the beautiful writing where it's like they said, we don't have to be afraid, we just have to be cautious, and we just have to know and take a second step before we actually step onto, the trap in this exact situation, even down to the fact that they shouldn't be afraid of asking for advice or thinking that they're going to get in trouble for discovering this thing. I mean, there's one hand that they're kind of excited and, do you want to keep a secret? Can you keep a secret? Maybe. And they found a nice decent chunk of, it looks like styrofoam there in the form of cheese, but at the same time not worried about telling Uncle Fred and telling and asking Mum and all of those kind of things. And whether it's styrofoam, cheese, rat sack, or a trap, or something a lot more humanly poisonous, it certainly pays dividends just to be getting that extra little bit of wisdom behind you. However, I also just love reading the description to see if there's anything I've missed, so a fun reminder to young children that no matter how tempting, always ask your parents or guardian if it is safe to touch something you are not sure about. Interesting, of course, because I guess the difficult one to kind of communicate with kids here is the fact that for so many kids, for all kids, especially from a young age, touch is all they've got, whether they're putting things in their mouth or, scraping their arm or feeling spiky things or soft things. And that's where all the plush books, all those kind of things, is all about touch. And so I guess it's kind of stemming from that, being curious through feel and texture, let alone just the fact that it's cheese in the rats. It does become difficult. And of course, it isn't targeted to an age of 2 months old. It's at least language-based age, but still it's all that curiosity that you kind of have to just pry out of kids in a good way to keep them safe to an extent from the worst.
Hello, I have a lovely story to tell you all about a family of raccoons. One day they all went out to play in the sunshine, and baby raccoon saw some wild berries on a bush. But Mummy said, "Careful, baby, some berries are not for raccoons." Then he saw some big mushrooms growing by a tree. But Daddy said, "Careful, baby, some mushrooms are not for raccoons." And just like animals in the forest, you need to be careful too. Only take medicines or drugs if Mummy or Daddy says it's all right. And never take drugs from people you don't know.
Right.
The next thing Baby Raccoon saw was a big apple tree. He asked his mummy, "Can raccoons eat apples?" Mummy said, "Yes, baby, you can have an apple. Remember, children, some things are good for you and some things are bad." Baby Raccoon says, "Be careful, children, and only touch things that are good for you." And mummies like me want you to be careful too. Bye-bye for now.
It's funny to have two in a very, very similar vein to one another, considering that the CCAs do cover everything from drugs to alcohol to stranger danger and all those kind of situations, and then to just be putting it in, once again, such a digestible form. This one even feels like it's maybe a younger than the previous one, because it doesn't even use any kind of animation that is talking more in the third person. It's directly saying, don't do this and don't do that. Whereas the last one was more communicating through the expectation that people understand what's going on and that they will kind of put themselves in the rat's position, where this one, going about mushrooms and berries for raccoons, I mean, yes, there's a little bit of a stretch there, but they definitely also did say, well, the raccoon says, and the mummy bear says, and the daddy raccoon says, and all those kind of things. However, it always catches me by surprise that they are constantly reminding the kids about the stranger danger and just not accepting mushrooms, apples, berries, anything like that from strangers. And I always wonder why that is, in terms of, was it that prevalent at the time? Is it still super prevalent? I mean, I understand doing it as a general topic, but it's a very, very common topic and a very common line just to be going, don't do this from anyone. And is it that kind of common for kids to be in a position where they could be taken advantage of, or just given something by a stranger? I feel like that's pretty rare. To be fair though, I guess I have read plenty of times about how some people have very vivid memories or nostalgia factors when they do see them again, and just zero recollection of others. And so they're going, maybe I haven't seen it, or maybe I just don't remember it. And so you do have to be tackling the same topics over and over and over again. As kids are growing up, they might miss one season or one episode or one time of day if they're being broadcast at different times and bedtimes and all those kind of things. So kids do grow up seeing the raccoons and then seeing the rats and then seeing the actual kids on the playground, and that's a 10-year progression, but it's burned into their mind and not to be eating grapes that aren't for raccoons.
Mommy, how was your work today?
Well, I had a good day. I was able to help someone at my school today, and that made me feel good.
How?
Well, a little boy in my class was sad. Wasn't feeling good.
Was he crying?
A little bit. He feels like his mom is angry all the time.
Angry at the little boy?
That's the problem. He tries so hard to do his best, but his mom still gets angry.
But it's just a boy.
That's what I told him. When his mom is angry about her problems, it's not his fault. When she smashes things or yells or hits him, it's wrong. Because she is the adult, and adults know that yelling and hitting is wrong.
What is he going to do?
He's already done the most important thing.
He did?
Yeah, he told me.
Tell someone you trust when something is wrong. They want to help.
I think he had a good day.
Me too.
Jeez.
A message from Concerned Children's Advertisers.
That's a tough one to get across, because in all the other ones, like I've been saying, they say don't talk to strangers, and to an extent I guess the teacher isn't a stranger, but it's not your mum. And so to be going against your mum, and I mean, yes, you're going to be having conflicting emotions if she is yelling, screaming, making a scene, hitting you, whatever it may be. But then to be going out and then just seeking another maternal figure in this regard, in the form of the teacher, would be a weird thing for, what, like a 7-year-old to be comprehending? It just feels very, very difficult. And I think, once again, they did do it the best they could, and they definitely do say some very particular words to try and get the message across, but it's also like they're targeting multiple areas here. Like they're saying, okay, we're trying to sum up the kids' emotions, saying it's not your fault, adults should know better, and all those kind of things, but then also going, well, stranger danger to some extent, but tell someone that you trust and that you know, and then also that they're not a bad person for that. And there's multiple factors within this one situation, which I'm sure plenty of people do experience worldwide. You just have to also commend the writing, because these guys and these commercials didn't hold back. If they needed or wanted to go down a certain route, they did. And so if they wanted to showcase the more tumultuous aspect and side that she's actually describing, they could, and they would have done it. But they actually went for the more passive, calm music, just teacher describing the situation. And I mean, I guess the teacher describing it to her son is a little bit strange overall, but it comes from a good place. And knowing that people, like they said, tell someone you trust, they want to help. Because as much as they can help you directly through comforting you and everything like that, as a teacher, there is certain avenues I'm sure that they can explore to try and put a stop to that kind of behavior in the first place. And so I'm kind of surprised that any of these advertisements ever got taken down, or not taken down, but just stopped. I mean, yes, they're missing a few pixels, but run them, upscale them, redo them, I don't know, just put them back on the air, why not?
Your brain is a marvel of technology.
Weave.
But when you take drugs, you alter your brain.
Right.
You change thinking patterns. You distort perception. And eventually, your brain just won't be the same.
Whoa.
Think about it while you still can.
See, that one feels so different, because I certainly hope, at least, that it's for a much older demographic than the previous ones that we've been looking at, where they're talking about, oh, don't touch the cheese. And I guess they're kind of talking about that from a far off extent, but this is just going straight to the point. Like I was saying, if they want to go for something, they do it. So then just to be having the perfectly weaved brain, it's pretty awesome. And that kind of looks more like wool than cable, and I don't believe that any of it would have been CGI. I mean, I don't think it ever says when it came out. No, I mean, they all were uploaded in 2008, but I'm sure that they were made a little bit before that. This one could have been around the time. It feels a little bit newer than some of the other ones, but regardless, like I was saying, they went straight to the point, just snipping everything, altering, literally, like they said, the brain function, nothing was going anymore, and turning it into a ball of steel wire wool. I guess they're not too far off, but I'm just amazed that they do also cover such a range, or such an age range. Like, they do go from infants, basically, to what, like 40-year-olds, 80-year-olds? Who are they targeting here? I mean, I guess everyone's a child at heart is maybe the kind of more motto that they're living under, but at the same time, this surely isn't for 10-year-olds. I mean, I guess if it is in their mind from a young age, it's not a bad thing, but maybe they're not going to have the understanding, or maybe it's just not really something or a topic you want to be implanting in their minds too early. I don't know. I don't know if there were certain time segments like we saw with the second one of the book that has to be like a 4 p.m. running, where this one is more like 8 p.m. or something. I don't know. I don't know if they split it up, if they just had them on repeat, if they had them on a cycle, if they had them on over multiple years, different ones, different approaches. No idea. Like I said, even just targeting particular topics, if they have a census or some kind of data that they can go, wow, this is a problem area for this demographic, and so we have to make this for this year or for last year or for anything like that. How do they go about picking the topics, and how do they go about just rewriting all these different things but still make it digestible for multiple people, and not just have people switching off because they're bored of it, actually have people intensely or intently engaged? And that's what I keep hearing from people, going, yeah, I remember it, it's burned into my mind in a good way. And so congratulations to all the CCA guys. I mean, I would love to know also who was the person that actually had the snip, so to say. You know, you could go back in time and go, who are you? Where are you now? Because with them, in conjunction with all the writers and all the animators and the puppeteers and everything like that, you can be fairly confident that they've changed many lives.